Hi everyone, Janie here. Welcome back to my garden and welcome back to my cut flower garden. I feel like a kind of like a fairy princess sitting here in between my zinnias. This cut flower garden is especially sweet because I had zero plans on this garden this past year. Jason and I had decided this is my center island in my front yard, and Jason and I had decided that we were going to leave the center island for this year. We weren't going to touch it, and just because of time and money, and we wanted to focus all of our attention onto the orchard garden, my Best for the West garden, and we definitely did that, and that has come along beautifully. But I couldn't just sit here and let all this beautiful land that has already has drip irrigation to it, I couldn't let it just sit here all year. So I decided very last minute to make this a cut flower garden, and I'm so glad I did for a couple reasons. One, because I have these beautiful blooms to enjoy now at this time of year. But two, it was really eye-opening and educational about the spaces that I have in my garden, particularly the problem spaces. Over here, I'll show you all in a second, I do have my septic tank, and then I have my leach field over on this side of the center island. And it was really eye-opening to see the difficulties of planting over a leach field. And then to make it even more stark of a difference, we had actually dumped compost over on this side, and the compost was, it was kind of like the pile that we took from to spread it all over everywhere else. So there is some compost left over on this side of the cut flower garden, and there's no compost over on this side. And I'll show you all, it is such an incredibly huge difference. It was very educational and very eye-opening on how important it is to amend your soil, especially if you've moved into a new property and the soil hasn't really been touched for a while. And then two, understanding your garden and understanding what's going on, for instance, like a leach field or a poor drainage area or an area where the water doesn't get to. When you move into a new property, you pretty much know nothing. And so going kind of slow, there's a benefit to that, because then I didn't waste any money by planting crazy things over on this side, because I know it's not going to grow very well. So my plans are kind of changing as I'm watching how these cut flowers grow. So for today, I'm planning on cutting some of these beautiful, beautiful flowers for an August bouquet. I want to harvest some of these blooms for some seeds, and then I also want to start drying some flowers and drying some herbs as well. So let me grab the camera and I will show you all kind of a look at the cut flower garden and kind of like the really good side and the not so good side. So here's a backed up view of the cut flower garden, and you can see right here, this is where I had planned to do kind of like a walkway in between big, beautiful blooms. You can see that didn't quite work out. I mean, over on this side, it did. I have some big, beautiful blooms over on this side. This is Gomphrena over here, and if you guys can believe it, this row and this row are two separate varieties. They look so similar to me, but when you look close, you can tell the difference. This is Lavender Lady Gomphrena over on this side, and then this is Salmon Pink Gomphrena over on this side. This is Antique Rose. Is that what it was? Antique Rose Celosia from Floret. It's very pretty. I mean, like, look at this silvery color. It's very pretty, but I do like kind of brighter colors in my garden, so I don't think I'll repeat this next year. You all know I really like the bright colors, like these zinnias over here. Bunch of zinnias, a big, beautiful volunteer sunflower that I kind of love that it's right there. Some cosmos, and then in the back row right there, I have amaranth and some different sunflowers growing, and then those are my pumpkins back there. So this side all looks good. This side got amended with the compost. Over on this side, though, this is so sad. This is just terrible. So again, this is where the leach field is, the what do you call it? The access point to the septic tank is on the other side of my propane tank. And this is just, it's not a fail. It's absolutely not a fail, because I really learned from this. Even though this is some of the worst zinnias that I've ever grown in my entire This is just so sad. I learned what this area needs. I learned that I'm probably not going to be able to grow really beautiful things over on this leach field. And I do have plans when we completely redo this center island. I'm thinking kind of like somewhat of a meadow, a grassy meadow over on this side that I think is going to be able to grow perfectly fine. And then this whole area right here from that big mound where the pumpkins are growing all the way down here, I'm going to have a dry creek bed. So that's not going to matter at all. I wanted to show you my gomphrena. Look at that. Here's my hand. That should be my thumbnail right there. So, and it's not even that variety, that particular variety, because if you look over here, I have what looks like a lavender lady. And again, very, very small, especially compared to the ones over there. So it is a combination. It is the leach field. And then it is also because I didn't put any compost over there. So there's just nothing, there's just no nutrients for these plants over here. So that is okay. No problem. I can work around it. So my goal for today is harvesting. I do want to harvest some of these cut flowers for a beautiful bouquet indoors. I do want to save some seeds, particularly on my zinnias, because I have used so many of my seeds this year. I need to replenish my stock, and saving seeds from zinnias is one of the easiest things you can do. I also want to dry some herbs, but I'll get to that while it's still cool. The morning is the best time to harvest cut flowers for bouquets. They're still hydrated, they're still ready, and then when you cut them, they're not going to flop over and they're not going to be as stressed, and they'll last longer in your bouquet. So I'm going to get that done right now. All right, all done. Now, if that doesn't say late summer, I don't know what does. This is beautiful. So I did end up using some of the antique rose celosia. I do like it. I do like the amaranth a little bit better, but I didn't get enough of that. Whew, isn't that beautiful? Isn't that gorgeous? I don't know how long the teddy bear sunflower is going to last. It's kind of on its last leg, but I think it'll be easy for me to just take that out and enjoy the rest of this beautiful bouquet. And it looks good from the back too. Love it. What do you think?
That looks awesome.
Pretty, right?
I like that. Good job, babe.
Thanks. All right, flowers are all harvested and I love my bouquet. Jason loves it too, which is nice. So now it's time to save some seeds, some zinnia seeds. I have brown paper bags. I have a Sharpie so that I can mark what variety it is, and then I just have my printers. So this one is Benary's Giant Bright Pink. I love the Benary's. They're so beautiful and they're so huge. So I'm just going to come through here and I'm going to find some of the oldest ones that are still on. And this one looks pretty good. And I'm just going to stick the whole thing into the bag for now. And really, you just need a couple because there are so many seeds in each one of these heads. There's so many. Oh, this is a good one. See that one? That's a wonderful one. Okay, just close it up. And make note of the variety. Okay, so here's all the seeds that I harvested from my zinnias. I was able to get 4 different kinds. Not all of them were actually ready yet, so I got to go back out in a couple weeks and get some more. But these guys were ready, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to let them sit in here for about a week to 3 weeks to let everything dry. And then once everything sits, the seeds will be ready to harvest. I'll show you on this one, just so you can see what I'm talking about. So once this one's not totally dry yet, it's still kind of soft. Once it completely dries, it's way easier to harvest the seeds. But if you go through, you just want to kind of break it apart. And then as you pull off a petal, the seeds, can you see that? Hold on. The seeds are at the bottom of each one of these petals. So if I take this apart, that's a zinnia seed right there. So that zinnia seed I'll want to dry and then store it in a cool, dry place with the rest of my seeds. And then I will have zinnias for next year. Now, all of these were in my garden along with other varieties. So they might not be completely true just because the pollinators will go from variety to variety to variety. And that's the drawback of getting your seeds from your own garden. If you don't separate the varieties, they're not always true. There are some kind that are called open pollinated, and those will end up looking like the original flower, but some of the other ones won't, possibly will have other characteristics. I actually haven't really noticed that, and I've been doing this for quite a few years now, but just know that it can happen. So anyway, I'm just gonna let them all dry, and then I will go through in about a week and I will harvest all my zinnia seeds. And just the couple bloom heads that I got, I'm gonna have tons of seeds. So it's definitely worth doing this. Yes, I know you're so interested in the zinnias, Jeffrey. Can I help you? You're not supposed to be up there. Can I help you? He's just eyeing the bags. I know you're just super interested in these bags of zinnias, but no, sir, get down. Oh, I know what it is. I know what it is. There's a bug. There's a bug. Get it. Get it. Get the bug. Get it. Get it. Oh no. Get it. Jeffrey, get it. So the last thing that I want to do today is I want to harvest some of my herbs from my herb garden. And my herb garden has kind of gotten a little crazy. I have been harvesting all of this nonstop. I've been giving it to the bunnies, a little bit to the chickens. They don't like it as much. But man, this thing is prolific. I think it just really likes this spot, this Vigo bed right next to the white wall of my office. I think it's just a really, really good spot for it. So it's been growing like crazy. And now I have finally decided that I want to start drying some herbs so that I can use some of these herbs in the winter time. When I was at the Greenery, which is a very, very cute garden center in Turlock, California, I found this herb and flower dryer hanger thing. It's so cute, and I'm going to use that today. This thing right here, I love this thing. There's the sign. Can you see that? Herb and flower dryer. There we go. Jason and I are still working on the metal workshop. You can see that we've got plywood all on the back wall right there. We're going to do all of the walls. We just haven't gotten to it yet. It's taken a little bit longer just because we're having to cut in on a bunch of places, but we'll get there. We'll get there. And then we're going to paint it all white, and we're also going to paint the ceiling white, and it's going to be so beautiful. But that comes with time. Right now, I want to dry my herbs. All right, and I am all done. I didn't even count how many hooks there were, but I got just that exact number of bundles, which I'm very happy about. So I got parsley, I got sage, I got thyme, a couple different bundles of basil, and then of course rosemary. So my plan is just to let these dry, and then I'm going to crumble them up and put them in jars. Now here's the thing, is you want to do this in a cool and dry environment and a dark environment with no sunlight. Now I have grow lights over there, which isn't ideal, but I don't think there's enough light shining on these to really cause it detrimental effects. So what can happen is if you hang this in sunlight, it can lose its flavor faster and it can lose its color faster, and it's just not as good. So a dark and dry spot is the best. Like a closet or something would be ideal, but I didn't really have a place to hang this thing. This was the best place in my office that I could think of, and so I think I'm just gonna go with it. And plus it makes our office smell really good. So that's going to be it for today. I got a ton of good harvesting done. I got a beautiful bouquet, some zinnia seeds, and of course my herbs. So I hope you all enjoyed this, and I hope you all have a chance to get in your garden today.